Legends of Runeterra is known as being one of the most generous card games out there. Players are able to climb the ranked ladder and build competitive decks all within their first week of playing the game. With the weekly chests and the region roads, players are given more than enough wildcards and shards that they can use to craft whatever they desire. But what if we removed the ability to craft? In this series, I'll be creating a brand new account and ignoring every shard and wildcard in my collection, using only the cards that the Riot gods bless upon me. How far can a random pile of cards actually go? Is it possible to get to Masters? And if so, how long will it even take me? Find out on my journey of Craftless Runeterra. Good afternoon, Tricksters, and welcome to the very first battle of Craftless Runeterra. As you know, we have to create a brand new account for this to work. So we're going to hop right into our first battle, and we're going to kind of speed through the tutorial real quick because we all know what goes on. We have officially completed the 4 tutorial missions, which unlocks us our first deck. These are the first cards that we are allowed to use on our adventure. Now, the deck itself is pretty decent. However, we're mostly going to be focusing on the standard format, and the deck is obviously not quite standard legal. So now we have to progress along this. The ideal goal by the end of the episode is to unlock region roads, because that is where we're going to get the majority of our cards. Obviously, all these things are useful. We have a silver chest, which is going to give us our first rare and our first 2 commons. Wild capsule. Absolutely nothing. This means nothing to us. This is the most useless thing imaginable. However, something else that's notable is the weekly chests. Oh, we get a reward. Let's claim our first capsule. This is going to be our first cards on the account. Soul Cleave is pretty good. That's actually a card to keep in track of. Fleet Feather Tracker, pretty good. All these cards are playable, except for the Bouncer. And this Brutal Skirmish, I've never even seen this card in my life. But all these other cards are playable. And that's what's the most notable thing. These 3 on the left, insane pickups. And we do get a card bundle on day 2. Not the greatest, but it's there. It's there. That's what matters. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to claim a couple of these other decks. We can look at our collection, but we can't play PvP anyways yet. So we're probably going to ignore these decks and just do challenges until we unlock PvP, and then we'll maybe try to play a game or 2. Since the challenges are kind of boring, we're going to skip through these as well. We're pretty much going to fast forward everything until we unlock PvP. I went ahead and completed these challenges, so let's go ahead and take a peek at the first set of cards that are coming in our collection. Most of them are pretty guaranteed through like the starter decks, but we do have 1 silver chest, which is interesting. So let me go ahead and claim them all, and then we'll go ahead, we'll build our first deck, and we'll play our first few games of the account in PvP. Again, we're going to be trying to play this through standard, so a lot of the cards that we get aren't going to be like really good, because, you know, they're going to be locked out of the format. However, I'm not expecting to get there in this standard rotation, so they may be useful in the future when the next standard rotation happens. We upgraded to a gold chest, which is really good. The biggest problem with these chests is they have a chance to upgrade to wild cards. And again, a wild card is absolutely meaningless to us. These shards at the end, absolutely meaningless. And we could get some flair for our deck here as well. I'm never playing any of those cards when they appear in decks, so they are all useless to me. However, we're just going to keep rolling. We're going to unlock our final decks. And then we're going to go into the deck builder and see what we can craft up. The other really important thing is unlocking region roads. This will allow us to choose regions, and we'll be able to get cards from that specific region. Now, a region that I always normally start in is Ionia, because I really like a lot of the Ionian cards. The Spritlings, most notably, as you can tell from my channel, are very important to me. So this is a region that, of course, will have a ton of Spritlings. I don't know if that's going to be most useful for the series, however. But the first thing we're going to go do is we're going to hop into the deck builder, and we are going to see what cards we have to work with, pretty much. We want cards that are going to be standard legal, of course, because we are going to be playing standard decks. So, if we go into the play screen, we can see that Udyr is actually standard legal, the Seers and Soldiers deck. So this may be the best deck to start with, because these starter decks are really good, and they give you like a solid core to work with. We can see this is a Garen Udyr deck, and if we cut out these like expensive useless cards, like we're never going to play Judgment, Garen is probably not a good card, the Elnuks are kind of garbage. And we could throw in stuff like Gnar is a really good card. We can throw in Gnar, we can throw in... We can throw in a couple strike spells. Strafing Strike's a dragon strike spell, but it's still just like a generically good strike spell. So it does the same thing. It's a worse version of single combat, but who cares if it's a worse version of single combat when it does the same thing as single combat, pretty much. Alright, so I think this is the final list that I'm going to decide on. It's an okay list. I mean, I threw in a couple of the cards from the Shyvana deck into this one, and I kind of cut out the, like, big units. We do want win cons in this deck, which is what's going to be Udyr, Hydra Allseer, Mammoth Shaman, as well as Garen. I feel like 6 is like enough. We do have the Merkwolf Shaman as well as Gnar to kind of like stabilize the mid game, and then we have a bunch of cheap like 3-drops, 2-drops that all can like stay alive and apply pressure. They're all high valued units that are, well, valuable, and they're all able to do their job. Now, a lot of these cards get replaced by better cards, like a Mighty Poro 3/3 Overwhelm. Not really that useful, but it does a job when you have a very limited pool of cards. So that's what we're going to roll with here. Now, because we're building this Udyr deck, am I at 40 cards? I wasn't paying attention. Because I'm building this Udyr deck, it kind of makes me want to go into the region road for either Demacia or Freljord. And I believe I'm going to go into Freljord here. And the reason for that is in the, I believe it's the rare slot, we have an extremely valuable card. The puppy. Where is he? All cards. We have the 2-drop. Well, first off, all the all the Freljord cards that are cheap are really good. Freezes, Frostbites, we have Ice Shard. Like, all these useful cards. Volpine Wanderer, Troll Chan at common, Sky Splitter at common, Ruthless Raider at common. Like, all these cards are commons or rares. Like, a couple of them are going to be rares that I'm going to look at. But for the most part, that is what we need. We need a lot of these commons that are going to just be high value and high impact. We have the Omen Hawk. If we could get a 3rd Omen Hawk, that would be pretty huge. And the card that I'm really looking for is the Yodolski Snowbug. This card is a common, and this is one of the best cards in the deck. And as you can see, a lot of these cards are good. And also, if we swap to Eternal format, if we plan for the next rotation, this has a lot of ramp cards. And when you're playing a bunch of, like, useless cards, ramp cards are going to be valuable, like, warding stones. This card sucks, but gain an extra mana. Like, that's not the end of the world. Deal 2 to all units. Deal 2 to all units. Just deal 2 to everything and control the board. I think that's the best way to go about, because you can't really build an aggro deck, because you don't have the, like, high value cards that deal that extra tiny bit of damage that gets you over the edge. Whereas if you play like a stall control deck, it can keep you alive to the point that you can drop your not as perfect, like, I'm never going to play Mammoth Shaman in an Udyr deck, but in reality, it kind of does a good job at ending a game if you can get onto the board. And if we can stall until then, this is a perfect card. So without further ado, let's hop into our first game of PvP on this account. Now, as we're hopping into our first game, you'll notice we're going to be versing a bunch of other trash decks. We're in Iron 4. These are pretty much all going to be starter deck versus starter deck games. And I'm okay with that. It allows us to get to a good rank. We should be able to get there with a fairly decently high win rate. And our hand, kind of insane. We have perfect ramp, everything we need. I plan on doing about 5 games an episode, and I'm going to keep track of my win rate. We're going to do everything pretty much. And we're going to win the games, of course. I'm okay to take 3 here. Planning on dropping the Seer and just swinging for a ton. They're playing a Yasuo deck, so they're going to have stuns and recalls, so I kind of have to be a little aware of that. Udyr's not the best into stuns and recalls, but if I drop Udyr with a single combat in the back when they summon their Yasuo, it's kind of a good way to answer them. Yasuo does kind of need to be on the board, but it's like the whole core of the deck, so they're building around Yasuo flipping, and Yasuo just stunning and recalling things constantly. Here, they're attacking. They could have Twin Disciplines. They could have any kind of card that buffs their unit. I'm still going to block here because I don't really have too much use of this unit. I'd rather them burn a combat trick here and have my unit die than them having it later. They're just stunning it, so doesn't really matter here. We don't lose anything. I actually haven't seen a lot of these Merkwolf cards in my life before. We're gonna attack with our Toro. Ooh, they're taking it. That's kind of insane here. That allows us to drop... I'm gonna drop the Shaman, which will flip to give us a unit. And that's actually really good for me. If this is a stun spell, I kind of have a lineup that I can do. So they're going to stun this. I believe the best form of action is to kill Yasuo here, which not only procs the Starlight Seer, but it also kills one of their 3 champions. And they may only have 2 Yasuos. Like, let's not take that out of the way. We are still playing really early, so people are going to only have 2 copies of their champions. That's the reason we're playing 3 different champions, because we only have 2 copies of each. Trying another single combat's really nice. My whole game plan here pretty much is to just attack, attack, attack. There's not really that much thought put into it. We are gonna keep the Starlight Seer in the back, but yeah, we're gonna attack like this. They can block the Twirler into the Protector. They're deciding to block the Sunhawk, which isn't the end of the world. But this... they shouldn't do that, actually, because I get the Pokey Stick and then I could kill the Twirler. They're opting to stun Gnar. I still get the 1 damage, so Gnar's gonna flip. However, Gnar will not get the attack. I think in response, we're gonna kill the Twirler. Oh wait, Gnar will not flip. I should have thought about that, but it doesn't matter. I'm okay with Gnar not flipping here, because we're dropping Udyr next turn. That was a slight misplay. But I think it was valuable anyways. I think I would have done that no matter what. Even if I realized Gnar wouldn't flip. Ooh, this is a pretty good card. 6 mana 7/5 with Overwhelm. That'll help Gnar flip. We're gonna stun my Ranger, which is fine. Not the end of the world. We still get Udyr on the board and they can't attack either way. Because if they try to attack, Udyr does the stance swap. They could attack with that, but that's why we kept the Hawk back. So the Hawk can block it and we don't take any damage. This also puts the climber in range of Gnar to kill it with the quick attack. So it was kind of a mistake to attack with it, because they knew I was just going to simply block it like that. We are going to give Udyr regen here. I'm not an Udyr player, so I'm not fully sure the exact order of operations for him. Usually I see people do like the protection spells first, and regeneration's good. Maybe I could have waited. We have a form up in hand, which is able to protect us if they block with the Empyrean. And they only have 4 mana, so it's tricky if they try to, like, not stop this. And this is really good for us now. We are going to give Udyr Overwhelm. Usually when I play against Udyr, they never give the Udyr Overwhelm, and I'm not fully sure why. They always do the +2/+2, like in this instance. And the +2/+2 is nice, but I usually end up being able to stall the game long enough. So I don't play Udyr, again, so I'm just completely wrong in whatever I say. But it just feels weird to me as someone who plays against Udyr a decent amount. We are going to do this. This will give us another stance swap. Our blocking Badger Bear is huge. This thing is an 8/8. Just from our Starlight Seer. This thing has gotten value. I said it was going to be useless this game, but it was quite the opposite, let me tell you. And the opponent surrenders. There we go. We are now 1-0 in this series. Who knows? Maybe it's possible to be able to actually get there. Well, I mean, of course, it's going to be possible, but maybe it's a lot easier than I thought. These decks are really valuable, the starter decks. They provide a lot of good cards and give us a really good chance. I'm going to save the region roads unlocks until the next episode. I plan on opening the region road unlocks as well as the weekly chests at the same time. And while we're talking about the weekly vault, I should mention my strategy going into this season. So the weekly vault unlocks every Thursday, as we all know, and if you get 3 platinum chests or above, so like 3 platinum chests, 3 diamond chests, you get a champion wildcard. Now, as we know, the champion wildcard is useless to us, so I think for the first few weeks, I'm actually not going to go all the way to triple platinum. I think I'm going to go to double platinum chest as well as 1 gold chest. This will give us not a champion wildcard, but a random champion. This will allow us to get other strategies that we can build into, and we can try out different decks. Like for the week 1, we're going to be playing the Udyr list. For week 2, we may try a different like amalgamation of strategies, try other regions, see what we can do. But at least for week 1, we're going to stick with this. Maybe week 2, we'll come back to it and we'll go into a different region. And we'll try to unlock cards from a separate region. Or, I'm not sure yet. Maybe we'll just stick with this video the entire time. In my perfect world, I would have 3 decks that I can play, that I can all bring into action every episode. Right now, we have 1, and I may try to craft the second one for this episode, but most likely not. The cards are really bad. Our collection is really minimal. I mean, I could just do the 3 starter decks, but especially for standard, you can see this is every card we're working with. A lot of the Freljord and Demacia cards, but not so much cards from other regions. So it's a little difficult to be able to play everything that we want. Maybe I can try a Kale Noxus list. But for now, we're gonna stick with the Udyr one and we'll play a second game of it. So in game 2, it looks like we're playing against Lux Shen. This could be a really good deck, so we may be in a little bit of trouble. I've seen a lot of Lux Shen, Lux Illuminated Shen, to be specific, not regular Lux. The Lux Shen does everything a good deck does. It can attack, it spams barriers, it has a lot of valuable units that are able to counteract summons. I'm not feeling the most confident about this one. However, with that said, I believe our deck does have power, where power comes. We don't have any of that power yet, but I believe we can draw it. I'm confident in myself. We're going to begin with the Seer. I could go dog here, but I may want to save both dogs for the 6 manas. Especially because they're going to be spamming barrier here. This card, the Greenglade Caretaker, can solo take over at game. Ooh, a stance swap. That's kind of insane as well. I believe we're going to go Poro here. And then Shaman next turn. Because we kind... That changes a lot. We're going to try to protect from an attack real quick. Just save our health a little bit. Because they're going to drag the Seer here. And then we trade 2-1 here. They hit us with the thinking about. They're really thinking about this one. They're afraid to attack because then this is going to happen. But they also don't want to trade the tracker for nothing, pretty much. So they're going to trade the tracker for the unit, which is perfectly fine. They save 2 health from the Badger Bear. Pretty much the same result. That is interesting. That's actually really good. I believe what we're going to do is we're going to try to make our Seer huge. If we can make our Seer just a really big unit, it may be able to create some insanely good cards in our deck. We're going to try to avoid keywords as well, because they're going to be able to get a keyword here, Explorer's Plunder. I don't think they would go for the heal. They could have went for the heal, but I don't think they're going to go for the heal here. So we're going to go here. We're going to make our Starlit Seer a 4/5. They may respond with a single combat, which is what they're going to end up doing. Which, as you can imagine, not very happy with, but can't really do much about it. It kind of eats us up. However, we are stalling out slightly long enough. We're getting to the point that we can drop it. I am afraid that they're about to drop a barrier. Ooh, that's really good here. So what we can do is we can just kill Lux. Nar's gonna die, but I have a different idea. Instead of killing Lux, we're not gonna do anything. Lux is gonna get barrier, which is gonna give the Kinku student barrier. They drag Gnar here, which notably is really good for me, because that lets me pokey-stick their Nexus. Okay, they are not going to do that. I would much rather they drop Gnar. So what we are going to do here is we're still going to block with Gnar. This will give us a pokey-stick. We're going to attack their Nexus here. This is tricky. This is a tricky one. I believe this is the best scenario. So we're going to drop down to 6 health. We're taking a lot of damage doing this. And I may regret that. The reason I'm not insanely afraid, like I should probably be, is because I know I have a single combat in the back. And the single combat should be enough to keep me slightly safe. Now, it's not going to protect me forever, but it should be enough to keep me not crying. We're just going to attack here. They're going to barrier this. I have to be aware of that. And because they're barriering here, I needed to save my mana. That's the whole reason for it. We are going to single combat, kill Lux. Doesn't do anything. I think we can stun it. Not optimal. It's a little sad. Not quite what we wanted, but... Kinda needed to do it. I think I just lose next turn, though, no matter what I do. I mean, technically I'm not dead here, if you think about it. I could live on 1.
Nature blesses her followers.
And I can no longer live on 1. Summon Garen.
My heart and sword for Demacia.
Yeah, because I'm unable to remove the barriers from these units. I would have been able to live if, say, like, you know, block, single combat the third one, but because I don't have enough units to kill the protector, I can't get rid of the barrier double attack. And because I can't get rid of the barrier double attack, I just lose. So we're gonna drop this. I may as well just put it out there anyways. Never mind. And there's our first loss of the series right after having our first win. I wasn't expecting to play versus a potential meta deck, but as you can see, even in Iron 4, the lowest rank of all possible ranks, people are playing one of the top decks in the game, just like that. So that shows how easy it is to be able to throw together a competent deck. And we're going to have a lot of work on our hands in order to be able to counteract that. So maybe I have to get back into the tank and get to building. For game 3, I'm going to go with a slightly different approach here. We are playing a ton of different cards. As you can see, none of these cards are that good. It is also almost every card in this region combination that we have. But I had an idea. I want to make Noxus Kale happen. So we're going to try out what this cards kind of do. They have some synergies, obviously. Buffing up Overwhelms is going to deal extra damage to the Nexus. Focusing on buffing units is going to buff up Kale, obviously. We have decent bombs using Mahira. She's really powerful, giving all my units in hand +1/+1. And field, of course. Kale, giving all units +1 attack. And all the Targon spells. A lot of the Targon buff spells are in it, and a lot of the Targon units that like to be empowered are also in it, allowing us to build a sort of competent deck. Now, I don't think it would beat Lux Chen, but it may be able to beat certain other decks that we come across, and I'm curious to try it out. I'm ready to try out this deck and see what it can possibly accomplish. Moving into game, we are going up against what looks like a wild deck combination. It's not a starter deck, but it seems like it kind of goes along the same concept of using cheap cards in order to just play decks. Callista, Hecarim, Aurelia, it's clearly built around attacking with a lot of ephemeral units. So I have to keep that in mind. Have to expect to see ephemeral units, and I have to expect that they're going to be attacking quite a bit. We're going to pass turn 1. I don't want to play any of my 1-drops turn 1. We're going to drop the soldier here, and we're going to see if we can get the soldier in. If they summon anything, we're going to take this one. But now they shouldn't want to block, because they know this is going to trade later in the game. So they should hold the Ribbon Dancer back. They're not holding the Ribbon Dancer back. That makes me a little sad, because I was really planning on summoning the Elegant Edge to get the buffed up stats. Not the end of the world, though. Turn 3, we should be able to play... What do I want to drop here? I think if I try to accelerate the clock, that's the best scenario. So the Ballista would be best. Or I can play the Gem Crafter. I'll play Esmus this turn. I could play Gem Crafter, Pirouette, Elegant Edge next turn. Then I should be able to swing in for a ton of damage. Oh, of course it goes on the ballista. But Gem Crafter, they're gonna summon either the Ribbon Dancer or hopefully something that has 1 health. Or I guess it doesn't matter because we're gonna stun it.
Showtime.
So this, we can block with Esmus because Esmus is kind of useless now. Are they gonna buff it? I don't know how I feel if they buff it. Oh, they're swapping. That is better for me, I think.
Punish transgressions.
So we're missing out on a good bit of damage by doing this, but I'm okay with it. We get our pirouette now. We could drop probably the ballista battlecaster next turn. We still save a pirouette in the back. We need it. This makes it so Callista can't attack. Unless they have another buff. I guess they could have another buff that they're planning on using. Kill an ally to draw 2. Go ahead. We could play the Battlecaster here. And they can't attack. Perfect. We get to drop Kale next turn, which is going to buff up all of our units.
Mine is a solemn duty.
And all of our units are going to get buffed up again. If they drop a 1 health unit, we're going to pirouette it. Stun Callista.
All on the shoulders.
And would you look at that? Look how much health that has. We're gonna block with the Gem Crafter. We're not gonna stun Callista, we're gonna stun the Abomination. So that they kind of have to block with Callista. We do flip Callista, which... Okay, I'm fine flipping Callista here. If they don't have another unit, this is just game. They do have another unit. So it's not quite game, but it's still exceptionally insane for us. Because Callista's now... Kale's now at 10 power. That is the worst block in the game. That's the only one you can't block like that. But this still may be game. If they don't have anything else. And it is. So we take on game 3. And a second win, and our first win with this deck.
The wicked have been brought to justice.
We also advance on to Iron 3. And now we'll try one more game with this deck. Moving into the 4th game, it looks like we're up against the same exact deck, which means our strategy is going to remain exactly the same. We're going to try to get our good units, and we're going to summon them, of course. Brothers Bond is a really good card. I think I don't want it, though. I really need units, especially cheap units here, which I do not have, which is a problem. I do not want to summon the Elegant Edge without proccing Plunder, because it kind of defeats the whole purpose of the Elegant Edge. That is interesting. So I think we're going to summon the Clerk. They're going to attack with the Chariot. This is going to... It's not optimal. We're not in an insane spot, but it's going to allow us to summon the Elegant Edge pretty much with the buff. We still have not hit Kale at all. We've not done anything towards it, but we're going to keep trying our best. We have our Flipped Edge, which is really good for us. And we're going to have an Iron Ballista as well. I think right now I want to focus more on just surviving. So just surviving, the plan is to stun this unit so they don't get a Shark Chariot. And I'll probably summon the Iron Ballista because my goal for next turn is to summon Kale. I'm okay taking a little bit of damage because this is about to gain lifesteal from Kale. And it's not great. Ooh. That's a really good card. It's not great, but I think this is the best thing we can do at this point.
Steady your heart. Find
Blade Dance 2, we're gonna take a... We're gonna block these. And then we're gonna attack with everything. This will give Kale quick attack, this will make Kale 6 power. And they're gonna take a lot of damage here. The fact that the Divine Clerk is able to stay alive here is really good for me. because I get to keep the life steal going. That is probably the best card. I saw that I had this card in the collection, and this is the whole reason I was like, maybe Kale Noxus would work. So I think the best thing to do here is to utilize that we have Scorched Earth in hand, and just...
Bear witness.
I'm okay to take 8. Scorched Earth allows me to kill Hecarim here. And weirdly enough, if they don't have a kill spell, this alone is just game. Which, there you have it. We win another game on this account. This will also move us slightly closer to Iron 2, where I'm hoping to end the episode. But I have one little trick before then, going into our final game. Going over the last list, we are playing Callista Dragons. This is a Callista Shyvana deck, and it is mostly focused around stalling the game using all of Callista's cheap units, trying to flip a Callista, and then getting into a Shyvana win condition using our high-cost dragons. We have Vengeances to stall, we have Remembrance, we have Catagrin, a bunch of Screeching Dragons, but the core concept that I'm going for is a Dragon Guard Lookout. Now, if Dragon Guard Lookout dies while I behold a dragon, Callista will then revive it. And then every time it gets revived, it'll rally as long as I have a dragon somewhere. So I had to shove my hand with a bunch of dragons. I actually may play a couple more, because the goal isn't to flip my dragons, it's to kill my units, pretty much. So it's an interesting style. I don't know if it'll work, but we're gonna find out together for Game 5. Going into the final game, we're playing versus an Annie Jin swing deck. This probably will not go well. I do kind of want to behold a dragon, but I do not want to behold Catagrin, let me tell you that. We do have that one Soul Cleave that I pulled that made me want to try a super deck, pretty much, in order to sacrifice my units. So I was trying to think of a good unit that is able to be hit by Soul Cleave, and while the unit's not the greatest, it does kind of function as a fairly reliable way to rally. And with Callista, a perma rally just means you win the game, because they can't deal damage to Callista in combat, because the unit that Callista revives is the one that takes the damage. Which is pretty much the concept. I wanted to try something silly like that. I believe usually, like, Eternal Dancers reviving Katarina is the most common example. Callista reviving Katarina as well would also do the same kind of thing. Now, the Dragon Guard Lieutenant actually clears Annie here, and I'm feeling a little confident at this point on. I have enough stall cards, they're just gonna drop Annie, which, congrats, you summoned an Annie. And ooh, another Grant and Ally Challenger. I'm okay to take another 2. Now, they are playing a burn deck, so I should be a little paranoid about what's gonna happen here. But I'm summoning a ton of units, and eventually I'll be able to be strong enough to just walk over everything they summon. I'm kind of worried about Jin a tiny bit, but I do have Black Spear, and eventually I'll have Catagrin on the board. That's pretty good. And they should be good enough to be able to hold it up. We are gonna summon the Prey. I am worried about health, so obviously having more units on board is gonna be valuable. They may have a way to kill the Dragon Guard Lieutenant here. If they do, so be it. Sharpened Resolve is their answer, though. I mean, it kills it. That's for sure. It doesn't seem like it's that optimized of a deck, because you would never play that in, like, an actual Jin Annie deck. So that makes me feel a little better. So if I clear out their champions, like I just cleared out 2 Annies already, then maybe I actually do stand a chance in this matchup. So Jhin here is a little scary, because I was kind of saving that Black Spear, but I ended up having to use it last turn to kill the Annie. Catagrin doesn't quite do it because it can't grant itself Challenger, but I do have Confront, which will give Catagrin Challenger. I am a little scared of a removal spell paired with Disintegrate, like a 1 damage ping paired with Disintegrate, which will absolutely slaughter my plan. But it is what it is. I'll do what I can. I do have more than enough removal, though. Between double Strafing Strike and Confront... Ooh, wait, this is really good. We are going to Strafing Strike here, because we're getting stunned. So now they have to burn 2 more cards in order to keep Jhin alive. If they even have the 2 cards. Disintegrate plus any damage ping will technically do it. Another Sharpened Resolve. Notably, however, Jhin still dies. Which is huge, because they just traded 2 cards, and we still end up on top. Remember, our deck is not trying to win the game through just winning the game. We're trying to win the game through stalling and summoning our big units. I believe the Shadow in the Brush is going to be the Avenging Messiah, because that's the only one that's like a skill. So it's a little annoying, because now I know they have a deny pretty much. They have a deny for now, because what's about to happen is I'm about to Challenger it, and they're gonna be forced to use the deny. Now, it's a 3/3. Oh, this card is so good if I had a dragon. But it's a 3/3. But they have to flip it, pretty much. So we are gonna... They're gonna flip it, of course. Why wouldn't they? So we're not in the greatest situation. They are stunning my strongest enemy. That card... That's a card that I hadn't seen before. Be real. So we're gonna kill it. Not because I'm afraid of its effect. I just want to try to maintain board control. And the best way to maintain board control is by killing that, so I can block with the Fading Icon. I'm gonna block the Shadow with the Fading Icon purely because I know it's gonna be another Avenging Messiah, and I'd rather not deal with the Avenging Messiah, right? They have a 3rd one? That's ridiculous. I'm gonna force out the deny here, because I know they have it and I know they're gonna use it. Just because I want, like, Vengeance the, should I Vengeance it, or should I wait? This is so tough. This is gonna be a tough one. I'm gonna wait, only because I have the Dragon Guard Lookout. And the Dragon Guard Lookout, I can use to kill it off. I can give it Challenger. Ooh, stun an enemy. I mean, I could save it for next turn. This Dragon Guard Lookout's not in, like, a rush to attack. That was probably the best draw in my deck. I don't want to kill off my 0/1s because I've been saving Callista for this whole purpose, to be fair. They're going to kill a unit, which is going to kill my unit. However, I trade back by killing the Chakram Dancer, and now I'm in full control of the game. There's almost no way I lose from here on out. That is an insane draw. Not only is that an insane draw, but you're about to see how really insane this draw can be. We're gonna kill it. Our dragons are now extremely huge. And they don't even want to see how huge these dragons can get. They're just gonna FF. This deck kinda did what I wanted it to do. But it did the core that I wanted to do, and that was win the game. So that's going to advance us right on to Iron 2. And we're going to end the episode in a lovely spot at Iron 2. A solid 4-1 start to begin the series. Kind of surprised. I was not expecting these decks to do so well, but with the power that Riot gives you in these starter decks, it does make a little bit of sense. And the fact that we're also playing in such a low, like, elo ranking, being, you know, still an iron. So these decks kind of do hold their own. I actually really like the Divine Slaughter deck. I'm a big fan of Kale. So there's a reason why I like this deck so much, but it just feels nice. It feels fun. Udyr is just a boring deck in general. And I named this deck the Bomber Dragon, the Callista Drags. And this deck was a surprising amount of fun. And I'm looking forward to making a ton of decks that kind of follow the same kind of pattern that you would never actually build, because there's just better cards that fill into the spot. But in a series like this, I don't have those other cards available to me, so I have to kind of forge my own strategy. We have a ton of rewards on the region road. Again, I'm going to save them for the beginning of next episode. But we have a ton of rewards available. We also have a weekly chest available to grab. I'm going to stop at this point. I may progress a little bit further on the weekly track, but I'm going to try to stop at this so I get a guaranteed champion card. Hopefully guaranteed. Hopefully it doesn't upgrade to a wild card. But I want to try to get champions on this account. And with the more champions, the more I'm able to unlock new things. We have a few loot things that I'm not grabbing. A couple of them are capsules that I got from doing Path of Champions. And a couple of them are just the prismatic rewards that you get. And I'm going to save everything until next episode, all the pack openings, and then we're going to build new decks using the cards we get from there. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed kind of running through the original starter decks and how we can use them. And I hope you look forward to more. Have a good one. See ya!